Hi, I'm Marcel. I am a warehouse manager for a pretty big company. And before that, I worked for the federal government, more of a white collar worker, legal specialist. And I joined in the professional type of setting later on in life because I was union most of my life. In my early 20s, after getting out of the military, separating from the Navy very long time ago. Yeah, so noticed Tom on social media and he spoke to some very valid points of some of the things that I was going through, trying to climb the corporate ladder, having a certain amount of experience and just not necessarily getting anywhere. He kind of spoke to my emotions.
Mm.
And so that led me to go to the YouTube, pretty much watched all the videos.
Oh my
And
goodness.
once I watched all the videos, I reached out. I think it said like it was something on the social media type join or something like that. And then
Right.
through dialogue with him, I jumped on a call, and even more so, it confirmed everything that I was feeling before. And it just so happened I also before I went to the federal government, I also contracted for the federal government overseas, and it just so happened that Tom was part of some of the telecommunications that was going on a particular fob that I was on.
Oh my gosh.
So
Small
yeah,
world.
it
That's
seemed like
crazy.
everything was lining up. I don't even know if I've ever told you that
You
part.
never told me that. That's really interesting. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Um,
Okay.
I'm
S
trying to remember who I first talked to, and
uh,
I know who I first talked
Nelson?
to. Nelson. Nelson.
Nelson, also a Navy guy. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nelson went to the Naval Academy,
Oh,
and I
neat.
talked to
Yeah.
Nelson.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I was contracted overseas in Afghanistan." And he said, "What fob was you on?" And I said, "The fob that I was on." And he was like, "Well, we were doing some business over there with telecommunications, and that was one of our fobs." And I was like, "Did God set this up?" Right?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so, you're talking to Nelson, you've watched the videos. What were the main challenges or obstacles that you were facing in your career at your job that kind of caused you to, yeah, reach out?
I guess the biggest obstacle that I always see, and this is Tom could relate to this as well, is I grew up in Western Pennsylvania.
Mm,
Grew up with a father that was union, grandfather that was union. And
mm,
my mind frame as an adult leaving the military was if I just get that right union job, then I'm set for life. And I did. I worked for one of the major automotive companies
mhm.
for 7 years as an assembly line worker. It started to tear away at my body a little bit, but they
Yeah,
offered free education.
yeah.
And so the automakers got into a little trouble years back and they offered me a buyout. I took an educational buyout and I started school a little later. So when I entered the professional workforce, now with the college degree, right around, a little more than 30 years old, I was a little further behind all the other people who were entering the professional workforce.
Mhm.
There's key things that you probably need to know, about executive presence and things like that.
Yeah,
Even just being in the right group of people to climb the corporate ladder.
yeah.
And I didn't know any of that. I didn't understand any of that type of lingo, or I knew nothing about it. I know union and I know seniority, right?
What a great point. I'd not ever actually thought about that, but there are just things that I think once you get into corporate, you just kind of absorb, right? But if you're in a different environment, you haven't been exposed to that. So it's almost like a different language, right?
Yes.
I think it kind of is a different language. So yeah, interesting. So you're coming from such a different place.
I,
In if you look at the military, if you look at how unions operate, and so that was kind of one of the reasons, like primary reasons, were like, what am I missing? What am I not? What do I not know that I don't know?
exactly.
Yeah. I guess talking about that, any particular mind shifts or like what was an aha moment for you that maybe kind of changed how you thought or increased your awareness around maybe some of the things that you needed to know in going into corporate?
I still don't consider myself corporate
Mhm.
because I'm kind of climbing the chain in a warehouse. So I wouldn't call it corporate. It's more kind of fieldish, right? And
Mhm.
one of the biggest things, I had a mentor in the federal government that wanted me to go. I just wanted to help people. I'm a people person. I want to help people, and it's kind of shows in my personality and certain things I knew. And when I sat down with Tom for the foundations call, and I had taken the personality test. And a lot of the personality tests align with a lot of things that I felt that kind of made me feel like I'm going a little crazy.
Mhm.
But sitting down with Tom and him walking through the disc assessment, kind of pointing out certain things about my personality, like I was able to read it and thought, yes, this is me, this is me. And he's able to go in and say, you be a person that's more fit for this
Yeah.
and this. And so even just the point of a lot of people want to climb the corporate ladder and want to be a CEO. But should you be a CEO? Maybe, maybe not, depending on your personality and your temperament.
Yeah.
And I can be that type of leader, but based on my personality and temperament, I might be a better consultant. Might be able to climb that ladder, know the things that I need to know, be a great business analyst because of how much I love data, statistics to be able to make certain decisions, but I might be a better consultant based on how my personality reacts with other personalities.
Yeah, and is that something that you would have considered had you not had that conversation?
No,
Yeah,
because no, it's kind of like it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I know certain things about my personality and I know certain things about how I feel, people that I encounter,
mhm,
there's certain beliefs that I have about the corporate setting. There are certain beliefs that was confirmed that I can say, man, it's really terrible sometimes that the loudest person in the room is the person that's listened to the most, even though they're 100% wrong. Why is that? Tom made a lot of sense of it. And it just seemed like everything that I felt it's what the driver was for vertical motion. So even I had a crazy schedule and
mm,
I wasn't able to get on any calls or anything like that, but the community, like several people reached out to me.
mhm,
The LinkedIn part of the community, people set up calls, and in the middle of setting up calls with people who I used to view as way far more advanced than me in a corporate setting, and discovering that they're having some of the same
yeah,
issues or they're going through some of the same things, and realizing that I might just be missing a piece of information.
yeah,
So even though I wasn't able to make all the calls, even though I wasn't able to dive into the learnings like I wanted to because of my schedule,
mhm,
certain aspects did kind of stick out and help me along the way. Honestly, feel that way, and getting a chance to talk to you every chance that I get,
yeah.
it,
I
it
I
helps
tried
me.
to well, I tried to keep my finger on you because I knew that you were I mean, your schedule was so off, and I knew that you weren't able to often as much as you'd like, right, attend the calls and the community calls that we have, so, yeah, I wanted to make sure that you felt like you were still attached and kind of getting everything that you need from the program, so hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I need to get more. I think I'm so far removed now. Like,
Mhm.
what you might want to edit this out, but even when I first joined the program, I had a bit of buyer's remorse.
Oh,
Should I?
no. Yeah.
I, I know that I don't have time for this, but I was I was at a point of just being tired,
Yeah, yeah,
not getting enough sleep. Something has to change, and
yeah,
this somebody has the information for me to help me change it.
yeah.
And I thought these good vertical motion people, and so far so good.
Oh, good, good, and I think that was probably one of our first conversations. I think I remember you saying, "Something has to change," right? Like, I don't have the answer. I don't have the time to go pursue. So if I can plug into a community, if I can plug into a course or a group of people who are maybe going through the same thing, have already gone through it, if I can shortcut myself to the answer, I'm all in. But I do understand the like because of your schedule, because of what you were doing, thinking, do I even have the time to do this? So kudos to you for honestly, Marcel, like having the schedule that you had and still to the best of your ability, having conversations with me, responding, trying to be on some of the calls. I think that that is a testament to how badly you wanted something different. I do hope And I feel like at least one of the things that we accomplished would be that you can now see yourself in a different environment. Like I said before, like you come, there's a military environment, like there is a family of people that were union. And so you knew all those structures. And hopefully we've given you a vision for what could be, whether it is corporate, whether it is consulting, whether it is coaching or mentoring, really based on your personality and who you are. I hope that we have broadened those possibilities for you.
I think so. I think the people, even just being connected with these individuals on LinkedIn and seeing all the posts and seeing the possibilities and seeing the different type of mind frames, seeing the amount of people that want to help other people in their profession. It doesn't even matter what their profession is, whether
Mhm.
it's loss prevention or if it's
Yeah.
sports medicine or whatever it is. Like we're all looking for the same thing, and that's hopefully to add value to other people and organizations. And
Yeah.
so being around those people and not being in a silo of just the people that are trying to come to work and get a check and go home.
Yeah, and I sensed you were really hungry for that network of people, kind of being around people that would grow you, that would challenge you, that knew more about different things. And you could certainly talk about things in the community that we don't know about either. So it's kind of a cross pollination of knowledge and wisdom I see that gets exchanged constantly. So I did see that you were really hungry for that. I hope that you got it. It sounds like you did. If there was anybody who was considering, maybe that was in the same situation as you are, or anyone actually in the program, like what would be your recommendation? Would you recommend that they join Vertical Motion? Like how would you articulate that to them? Would you tell them your story? Would you tell them what the outcome was for you? What would be your advice?
I would tell them my story,
Mhm.
but I do think that my story is unique.
Very much so.
I would tell them my story, and I would also tell them to look at Tom's social media. And I would tell them that I think the program has helped me, and I've only participated in maybe 20 to 30% of it. My previous job didn't allow me time to do much. And, I worked 2:30 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon. And so jumping on calls, trying to go through a virtual program, it wasn't the best timing for me.
Yeah.
But that small little 20%, what I was able to take advantage of, and the connections and the people that I was able to talk to, it wasn't just Tom, it wasn't just Nelson, it wasn't just Sandra, but it was also people that was in the program that, again, people that I think are on a way higher, like this is a vice president of operations for this big global franchise chain, but he's going through the same things that I'm going through.
Yeah.
He's looking for new opportunities the same way that I am.
Yeah.
So just seeing that and knowing that I wasn't that far off of that, that was worth it to me. And I still have so much more to learn, right? Like there's so much more that finding myself taking the time to learn. I could jump on the group and find a new book to read, tune into the Ask HR questions, certain things that I didn't know about recruiting.
Yeah.
I'm able to, even though I'm not able to jump on the calls or able to jump on office hours, I'm able to look through the chats
Right.
and find a question that I had or a question I didn't even know that I had, but I've been dealing with the same challenge, and the answer is there.
Yeah, yeah. I think we
It's-
we learn from other people's questions for sure. And then I guess the other thing I think about too is how often do you get the opportunity to jump into such a diverse network? Like if you're in manufacturing, if you're in food and beverage, if you're in whatever you're in, whatever industry you're in, most of the people in your network are in your industry, right? So this
Right.
is an opportunity as well to jump into a whole different network of people from many different industries with many different backgrounds. Not only learn from the modules, but also learn from each other. So, yeah, I think that is another piece where we bring, I guess, the membership brings a whole other level of value. So,
Yeah, even an example is like I have to go back to work today, but
mhm.
just speaking with one of my peers, and I was on a call, and I said, well, I got to go take another call. I have an executive coach. I have an executive coach that I have to jump on a call with here. She's like an executive coach, why would you need one of those? And I'm like, I'm starting to think, why wouldn't I? Like,
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, why not find out? Like, maybe I don't feel like an executive, but, like, talk to me. How do I become one?
Right. You
Yeah,
need a light bearer.
yeah.
No matter what type of industry that you're in, no matter where you're trying to go, even if I stayed in a union environment, it's beneficial to have somebody that has 25 years in, who didn't hurt their back, who didn't hurt their ankles, and they say, you might want to go into inventory and get off of this line so that
Mm,
way you keep your health and your mentality straight for the next 25 years.
yeah,
Like, you need that light bearer no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing.
right.
And for me, you guys have turned on a different light. Like, I'm not even like, we're just scratching the surface here. We went from me performing a job that I'm very good at but
Mhm.
wasn't passionate about,
Yeah.
to figuring out my passion, the ikigai,
Mhm.
and going for that type of position in my current network, landing it, getting on the hours that I need to get to just to be able to have a regular life again. And then now I get an opportunity to say, whether I like this job or not, or it was where I wanted it to be. One, I at least get to find out if it is. Two, now I get to seek out different opportunities.
Yeah.
Now I get to channel through all the different types of learning and development or organizational development. I only speak about that because it's a blessing that you're my coach, right? Because you've done that,
Mm.
seen it. In fact, I kind of lost track of the program during a move to this job. And the first thing I think of is, oh man, I gotta call Sandra, because how I'm thinking, how this heaven that I imagined in my mind,
Aw.
it's not heavenly. And Sandra would know if whatever I'm going through is accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's valuable to me. That's
Mm.
very valuable.
Oh, I'm
And
so glad. I was just so eager. I think once I really got to know you and kind of understand you and then kind of see like the situation that you were in, I thought, "Wow, what a miscast. This is not where he belongs. He has this potential, he has this foundation of education, and that needs to be built and grown, and it is not going to happen in this environment." So, however we get you not out of that environment, but really just kind of out of in a more reasonable work setting with work hours so that you have the bandwidth to start to build on who you really are and like really step into that. I was just super excited when you did get this other role. I know that there, like every role, there are challenges and things that come into the picture that were not expected, and I think it's going to sort of stretch you and grow that muscle of how do I thrive and how do I have people around me thrive in this new environment. But I saw it immediately. I thought, "Oh, wow, this guy, no, this he should be over here." And so I'm glad to see that you are on your way, right? And hopefully, I believe better positioned for that next thing. So again, kudos to you for making that happen for yourself under the under not the best circumstances. I just really feel like that says a lot about who you are, your resilience, and your ability to just keep it moving forward in not the best circumstances. So I'm impressed.
I'm happy I have you around.
Oh,
I
thank you.
I jump on LinkedIn now just to see certain posts from certain people.
Yeah, right? Yeah, me too.
And I haven't even scratched that surface yet. You
Yeah.
know, even if it wasn't for this group, if it wasn't for vertical motion, I would have never jumped on Chat GPT. Like,
Gosh.
I wouldn't be using AI. I used AI for the first time just a couple months ago. I might have had that conversation with you.
Yeah.
And then, like, I literally just used it the other day to put together a whole presentation on improving attrition. And like, I would have never did. I'm such a late adopter. I would have never did it if I didn't see other people getting results from it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We see somebody else do it. Like I don't have time to dive in and read a book. I don't have time to attend a course, but like, hey man, if you'll tell me, just do this and do that, and then that just kind of starts us on our like, oh wow, it's not that difficult. So we see each other do things, and then suddenly it just becomes like, oh well, I guess if Marcel can do it or if Sandra can do it, I can do it. So, isn't it fun though? Isn't it fun? And doesn't it like reduce the amount of time that you have to put into synthesizing information? At least gives you a nice structure to start to work with.
Oh no! Last week, my general manager asked me certain like part of a different learning and development team, and then they support distribution center that I'm at, and their goals are totally different. What
Mm,
my team wants to see versus what the general manager wants to see. But basically, all the goals that the learning and development team want to see that you have to basically check boxes for, the general manager can see it in a bigger picture. And what he's trying to say is, yeah, I don't really care about the checking of the boxes. Can you help me with attrition? And then he says, can you just write out a list of your top 5 KPIs that you think matter to help with that? And
mm.
I went home and I'm trying to write them out. Man, it's too like he only gave me till Friday. I'm gonna push it out until next week. And I told him that. I said, I'm gonna push it out until next week. And he asked a simple question. Why? And I thought, yeah, you're right. Why? Like he just this. He didn't ask me for a whole program or plan.
Yeah.
I started writing it out, and then it got a little bit bigger than what I thought, but it was just kind of like my thoughts based on information I've had. Wrote it out, sent it to him. I was pretty pleased with what I wrote out, but it was real. It wasn't formal or anything like that.
Mm.
I had ChatGPT ask me a question like, "Hey, we could do this report or something that was saying, and if you just do this, try this." And then I said, "Okay, everything that I wrote in there, I want you to do this, 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 and how about this, and what are the top this?"
Oh.
And the information and sources that is spit out, I was just like, wow. And as simple as that may be,
Yeah. Mm.
the discovery of that,
Yeah.
being exposed to this totally different network of diverse people and coaches and human resource professionals and like yeah, vertical motion. And I'm only, and I'd have to tell that person. I'm still answering that same question, right?
Okay.
No, I've only been able to participate in maybe 20, at the most 30% of the program. It's improved my life that much.
Oh.
I'm able to like I'm solving bigger problems than I was before.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Marcel, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. The work that you've done in the time that you've done it, I'm really happy to hear like what you've gotten from not only the coaching. I've enjoyed coaching you and working with you, and I've certainly more than enjoyed your success. I think you've just started, honestly. And so I'm excited to see what's up for you in the future, what you decide to build based on the things that you've discovered about yourself here and the things that you've learned. And I look forward to, even after you're done with the program, I am going to track you on LinkedIn, my friend. So yeah, thank you so much for this. I really, really appreciate it.
Hopefully this helps. I don't
It
know.
totally helps.